about
Yeah. So you have participated in the lectures early before this? Right now, anyway, we'll wait for some more time, few more minutes only. Right now, it's 6:49. Of course, starting the work with only one student is not good now, right? So although the time is passing, let's wait a little bit more. Around, we'll see. Right. So, Nesatma, can I know whether you have had lectures for other modules before this? Yeah? So, am I audible? Can you all hear me? Okay, let's wait few more minutes.
Okay, madam, let's say for a few minutes.
First of all, right. So, can I know whether you all can hear me? Right. Okay. So
Yes,
now
ma'am.
there are fine. So there are certain things which we need to talk at the very beginning, of course. Okay. Now this is my first lecture with you all, and there will be many more sessions to come. So we have to work together, right? And although you don't see me, I hope you can hear me very well. And usually I switch on video, but at the very beginning, during the introductory part of the topic, in each and every day, I switch on the video. And once I share the screen with the PowerPoint slides, usually I switch off my video. But now today I have a problem because there's a power cut, right? So we don't have the electricity at home, and the place where I am is not very well lit. So even if I switch on my video, I don't think you would be able to see me properly. So therefore, I just prefer not to switch on the video. But I hope you all can hear me properly, right? And the most important thing is actually the time, right? And before we talk about it, I would like if you can talk. Now these are not physical lectures, right? This is an online platform. So, the etiquette in online platforms, the basic thing is you need to communicate, right? And as you and I are not on video here, I can't see you and you also can't see me, but I'm talking. Hope you can hear me. So there should be a way for me to know that you can hear me, right? So otherwise, if you do not hear me, and I may be kept on talking and talking and talking without knowing whether you hear me or not, which is quite uh, uncomfortable, right? It is an uncomfortable feeling, especially, sorry, especially for a lecturer. So therefore, sorry. That is why at the very beginning I asked whether you can hear me. So can I know whether my voice is audible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Nesatma was there, but what about the other students?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. I know that there may be noise in your home, so it's difficult for you to switch on the mic. Right, it doesn't matter, but if you have any issue or a problem, please send them on chat, right? And the other thing is you need to talk actually. Because I'm not asking you to switch on your mic all the time, right? Whenever there is a question, you need to answer to that question, then please switch on your mic and talk. Answer the questions that I'm asking from you, right? So the most important thing is the interaction. Usually now I'm conducting several online lectures. So in my lectures, my normal way of doing lectures is to have the interaction, because these are not physical sessions. So interaction, I'm asking so many questions, not big things, right? Casual questions related to the things which we are discussing. So I expect your responses. I expect the responses of the students. So it will assure me that you all are on alert, right? That you all are listening to me. And then I can just, it's a green light for me that you all are listening, and maybe you all are understanding as well. If you ask certain questions from me, then it will be an assurance for me that you all are understanding what I am teaching, right? So therefore, let's work like this. Don't think that you can just log into the meeting and mute your mics, even switch off your videos, and you can mind your own works at home. Don't be like that, right? Because now there are several assessments. Hope you are aware of these things. Assessments in the sense evaluations, assignments, and the end examination. So for you to produce successful answers to the questions in the assignments as well as in the end paper, you have to understand the content. To understand the content, you need to come to the lectures. Even though we do not have lectures physically, right? You need to come, you need to attend the online lectures. And during the lectures, you need to participate in the discussions. Answer whatever the questions that will come in your way, right? Or even not only that, you can ask questions from the lecturer. So that is what I meant earlier as interaction. Other than that, right? Without having an interaction, this will be just a one-way communication. I am telling certain things to you, and you are just listening to me as passive learners, as passive listeners. There will not be any education, no learning taking part there, right? No learning will occur in that kind of a situation. So therefore, I need you all to talk, not talk in the sense our medium of communication is English here, right? So I think all of you are feeling comfortable with English. Can just throw whatever the doubts to me in English, or else in Sinhala, I don't mind, but not in the Tamil language, because I'm not conversant in Tamil, right? So either in English or in Sinhala, you can talk, no issue, but prefer the English language. All right. So just take it easy and feel relaxed and feel casual. And then only your mind will be ready to get new things, right? During the lessons. Okay. So the other most important thing is actually the punctuality, right? The lecture was scheduled at 6:30 and I logged into the meeting at 6:25, right? So I was waiting up to now, of course, nearly half an hour. until the students come. So can I know a reason for that? The reason for the delay in logging into the meeting? Can I know why? I mean, if you have any issue or a problem, first we should resolve them, right? With problems, we can't proceed, we can't continue. So can I know whether there is any issue, you had any problem in logging into the lecture on time? Now, as I told to you, this communication is the key here, right? If you do not communicate, if you do not talk, it will be really difficult for me to conduct the lectures, right? So therefore, at least I should know your presence. You all are there. I should know that. So therefore, yes. Why? Enough. Yes, Nesatma?
Sorry for the delay, madam. We will arrange all the things in home to join on time in next lecturers.
Yeah.
And also, I would like to thanks, madam. You have joined on time. We appreciate it very much. And again, I would like to say very sorry for our delay,
Alright, it's
madam.
okay, Nesatma. Okay, that's all right. Right? But now this is today the first one. But I expect from the next day onwards you would join, right? On time. Because time matters a lot. Time, we can't take time back now, right? So therefore, please respect the time, your time as well as the time of the others. Okay? So if you have any difficulty, okay, Favin, I got your message. Yeah, I just saw that you were coming and going and coming and going, something like that happened, right? Maybe a connection issue or something, right? What about the other students? I really appreciate if you can just talk and share your views regarding the time. What about this time, 6:30? Is it all right? Is it all right for you all to 6:30, from 6:30 to 8:30? Is the time okay? Only 4 students are there, right? Yeah.
Madam, we can't say it
Hmm.
earlier because we don't know when will be happen the
Ah,
power cut, madam.
yeah.
Therefore, we can't decide it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Now the
yes.
yeah, I can understand. Now the thing is, now also there's a power cut here in our area, right? So that is why I can't switch on the video also. But usually I do not use Wi-Fi connection, so therefore it's not a problem for me. My only problem is the laptop battery, right? So the power will be back at 7:30. I don't know if I will be able to run until 7:30 with the battery now. Okay, we'll see. Right? No issue. There will not be much issue. But I don't know your situation. That's the problem. The thing is now, dear, we have to live with this power cut uh, in future also, in near future. Right? So, therefore, I just personally believe that you have to arrange some other ways to participate in the lectures, even during the power cuts. Otherwise, you would lose some discussions, and that will affect your answers, definitely. Your understanding as well as your answers. So try to have some alternative ways. If your device battery is running out, then we don't have any solution for that. But other than that, for your connection, right? Just try to find some ways to deal with the power cut issue, right? Because we can't skip all the time the power cuts. You might skip, then I will not be able to skip. If I skip, you will not be able to skip, like that, right? So it doesn't tally with everybody. No, hope you can understand what I'm telling. So therefore, try to manage with that with the power cut issue. And I'm really actually, I don't know why this, as I got to know, there are around 20 students in the batch and only 4 are here. So does that mean that all the other 16 students have power cut? Is that so? I don't know anyway, right? Okay, fine. So let's start our discussion then. Is it all right if we start our discussion from now on?
Okay, ma'am.
Right. Okay, then. So I like if you talk. Okay. So can I know just before I start the discussion of the subject, whether anybody of you know me? I mean, it is not good to do lectures with an alien kind of person, no? I am, as you can see, my name here, Sujani Balsurya, and I am a permanent lecturer in SLET. So is there anybody who has done HNDA? Anybody among you? Yeah, HNDE in English?
Yes, madam. I also student. I was the students of HNP. Now I am
Ah.
English teaching government school.
Okay, right. So which ATI did you go?
I went to Ampara.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, Hardy, right? Okay. Right. So, Mr. Bandara, Susita,
Yes.
you might
Yes.
know. Right. Okay.
Um,
Well, so what about the others? Kavi?
Yes, I'm from Behivela ATI.
Really? So you
Yes.
have learned
Now I'm
from Sugandhi, Sandamali, Dyangani?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. All right. So what are you now?
I'm a teacher, ma'am.
Okay.
Now.
Fine. Good. Right. So what about the Asa Wahab?
Madam, I am from Kegol 88.
Really? So Priyang with our students?
Yeah,
Imna and all. Okay. So what are you now?
I am a teacher now.
Where? In a government school? Or?
Yeah, in a government school.
Okay, fine. So how long you have been a teacher?
2 years.
Okay, right. So you have quite a good experience as a teacher there. Right, fine.
Okay.
Okay, so what about Ilma? Must be Ilma. Can you hear me?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay.
I haven't done HND.
That's all right. Okay, so what are you doing?
I'm a teacher for about 3 years in an international school.
Yeah. Which area?
In Kandy, Madavela.
Okay, right. So can I know whether you all are from various areas? I mean, different areas in the country.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Must be. Okay,
I'm
right.
from Valigamala.
Okay, fine. Okay, thank you. Thanks, everybody. And I really love to listen to the students, of course, only 4 are here now. Right. Anyway, so as I told to you, I'm a senior lecturer in the Advanced Technological Institute, Kurunagala, right, in SLEAT. And well, so that's enough about me. Now let's move on to the work, right? I would share the screen. Now, as I got to know, you have received the module of this subject. Am I correct?
No, ma'am, I don't have.
Really?
No.
Now, as how I got to know from Mr. Rishad, I think you know him, the students have been given the modules, of course, not only one module. So what about the others? Nesatma, do you have this module? Hello?
No, madam. I also haven't got a module on this subject. We have a
Uh-huh.
module on other subject, education, technology, psychology, measurement in
Uh-huh.
that.
So how come you didn't get this one then? Right. Okay. So could you please ask about it from the office then?
Okay, ma'am.
Your right. Well, now, okay. So if even if you won't be able to get it from the office, definitely the office will give it to you. Even I can share it, right, with you all. So now this is the thing. Usually for each and every subject, you are given modules now, right? Some long modules. And this subject also has a module like that. And as you are given, as the students are given the module beforehand, usually I do not send the notes, lecture notes. Now, the normal way is I prepare the lecture notes earlier and I send them to the students before the lecture. If I just talk about how I am doing lectures with the other courses and other programs. But in this case, it's a little bit different because as I got to know, the students are given the module beforehand. They have the module with them. And what we can do is to teach the module to the students, either using some PowerPoint slides or using whatever the things. So because of that, actually, I didn't send any note to you. So I will not send these PowerPoint slides to you, okay? Right? I will not send these PowerPoint slides to you because you will soon get the module to you. And whatever I have included in these slides are the things that are there in the module. Sometimes now during my discussions, I may be talking about some more things that you can't find in the module, right? So that can happen. But basically, I have prepared these slides based on the module of this subject. Okay. So therefore, I'm not going to send these slides to you. So don't ask for the slides from me. There's no need actually, right? Will be just the repetition. So now let me tell you, it is really necessary for you to go through the module before you come to the lectures, of course, right? Then you would get to know what is there, the content. At least you may have some rough idea before you join the lecture, what are the things you are going to learn during that particular lecture, right? So that will be really useful. Otherwise, if you just log into the lecture without knowing what we are going to discuss today, what we are going to learn today, it will be really uncomfortable. I don't think you would feel comfortable there, right? And you might take some more time to understand what's happening, what are the things, because the stuff is totally unfamiliar. So therefore, I want you to go through. I mean, it is really difficult to read the module, the whole thing at once because it's quite lengthy. So you can just manage your personal time, your leisure time, right? And have some time to read the module, to go through the module before you have the lecture. Will be really helpful, I think. So once you come to the lecture, you know, at least you have the familiarity of what is there in the stuff. So that's really easy. Okay, just give me 1 minute, please. Okay, so you will get the module, right? Quite soon you will get the module. So once you get it, please go through it. Now today we are discussing something, the introductory part of the subject. No? So with that idea, just go through the module and you will understand clearly. Of course, now these are not difficult things. I will explain you the nature of this subject and what we are going to do, how we are going to do all these things today, now itself. So once you get the module, you will get the very clear idea regarding this subject. Okay. So I invite you all to read the module once you get it. Like, don't read everything together. Just there are sections. There are chapters, separate chapters, and within each and every chapter, there are separate sections. So you just read about one topic, one or two topics at once, right? No need of studying. I'm just asking you to read. Okay, read. No need of trying to remember what is there also. No need, just read. So unconsciously, subconsciously, you would get certain things to your mind while you are reading. So when you are in the lecture, right, you would understand the facts very easily because you have the familiarity. Okay, so this is how we have to work in this course, especially in this module, and that is my way. Okay, right. So now before I start the discussion of this particular subject, let me tell you something about the assessment also, because before the lecture I got it verified. You will have 2 assignments. And at the end of the module, you will have the examination, end paper, right? So during the assignments, you will have to produce long essays. So by the time I give you the assignment questions, definitely I will give you the instructions. Along with the assignment question, I'll give you the instructions on how to do it and how to submit and all these things. So I just feel it would be better for us to have a Google Classroom, right? So we can have a WhatsApp group, no issue, but it is not a good medium for you to submit your assignments, right? I need to get your assignments now. So for that, I think it would be better if we can have a Google Classroom. So what do you say? Do you have any other better options? Do you have better options? Especially when we think of assignment submissions. Shall we have a Google Classroom? Or else, can I know whether you all are in a WhatsApp group? All the students? Are you all in one WhatsApp group? I don't hear Favin because maybe the noise. Yeah, can somebody please update?
There is a common WhatsApp group for all. So
For all in the sense for your batchmates. So
yeah.
Right then. So you don't have separate groups for subjects, right? So let's do it like this then, right? No need of creating new groups, but I'll set up a Google Classroom, right? So in that Google Classroom, I can upload some other extra reading materials as well. Not only the module, right? So you can read some more stuff to improve your knowledge. So for that purpose, I can send you some material, some extra readings, all these things along with the assignments. So is it all right then if I set up Google Classroom, will that be convenient for you?
Yeah, ma'am. Sure.
Right.
Okay, ma'am.
So I'll do it, but not now, okay? Not even today. I'll do it bit later. And I can send the link of the Google Classroom to one of you so that you can share the link with your batchmates, right? So for that, I need the contact number, the WhatsApp contact number of one of you, so that I can send the link and all this connection information, right? So can I have the contact number? One student, that would be enough, of course. Yeah. who would like to give me the contact number? If you are not sure of me, of course, don't be frightened, right? I will not give you your contact details to anybody else. This
Okay,
is for
ma'am.
my information. Yeah, Hanesatma, can I have your one? If it is all right, can you please put it in the chat? Yeah, Nesatma.
Okay, ma'am, we'll put you.
Right. So, okay. I hope, Anisatma, you would send me your contact number so that I'll set up the Google Classroom and send you the link. Okay, link and the class code, and you can share it with your friends in the batch. Right? Okay, thank you, Anisatma. I got it. Give me 1 second, please. Right. Right. So I'll do it bit later, right? The setting up the classroom and sending you the link. Probably I try to do it before the next lecture. Okay then, right. So these are the initial things I wanted to clarify actually before the lecture. So now let's start our discussion, right? Okay. So now we have got the power back and I just thought of showing you myself because it's really, I know it's not nice to listen to a creature whom you do not know, right? So this is me. Well, and don't think that throughout the lecture I would be visible to you, right? You will hear me and that's it. Well, the module is the linguistic structure of modern linguistics, right? And let me show you the contents. There are 6 major areas, as you can see here in the slide. Starting with the first area, the nature of language and linguistics, right? And you can see I have allocated the hours, some number of hours for each and every topic. So that is for my convenience, but don't expect that I would strictly adhere to these time allocations. Okay, they can be just little bit change that can happen, but now this is the total number 36, right? And we have, as I told you, the very first area is the nature of language and linguistics. And then the second major area is consonants and vowels. The third area, phonology, phonotactics, and suprasegmentals. Fourth topic, the internal structure of words and processes of word formation. Fifth topic, grammatical categories and word classes. And the last topic, lexical semantics. Right. Now, although you see these topics in these simple lines, right? Simple and single and short lines, there is a lot to discuss within them, right? And there are so many subsections, topics, subtopics, and all. So I didn't include them here, but later on at the end of this, I will show you the content, the detailed content also, right? And once I set up the Google Classroom, I will send this material, right? The content in detail also to you so that by looking at it, you can get a rough idea. Well, so I wanted to, what happened? Right. So can you hear me?
Yeah, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yeah, something happened, right? Okay, so, well, so let me continue. Host, could you please enable the screen sharing? I need to share the screen. Please enable the screen sharing. Okay, right. So this is where I was. Okay. Right. So I was giving you the content outline. And as you can see, and as I was telling to you, there are these are very detailed areas, and you can get some idea by looking at the hour location, right? For the introductory part, only 4 hours, and for the other areas, there are so many. But please note that I will not be taking this whole time only for the lectures, right? Sometimes I may be allocating some of these hours for your assessments as well as for revision works, question discussions, etc. Okay, so all these works are included in this total 36 hours, especially the revision works at the end of the module, right? Okay, so that is how I have planned the work. And the very first topic, as you can see, the nature of language and linguistics. That is where we are going to start our discussion with, right? So in that topic, as you can see, there are several sub areas to discuss. Under the nature of language and linguistics, you have the nature of human language first. Okay, you have the nature of human language, and in the discussion of the nature of human language, we need to talk something about the fundamental beliefs about language, linguistic science, the rule-governed nature of language, language universals, innateness and creativity, and animal communication codes, right? So these are the sub areas, and what we are going to do is to discuss the nature of human language in relation to these areas, right? These 5 areas. That is how we are discussing. So once you get this particular module to your hand, you just turn the pages and you will clearly understand because there are sections for each and every topic which you see on screen here. Okay, there are sections. So in your leisure time, you can read them and be more familiar, right? So we are going to talk about, actually, we are going to start our discussion on the nature of human language with the fundamental beliefs about language. Okay, right. So before, of course, we go into the fundamental beliefs about language particularly, now we are going to talk about language, right? We are going to talk about language, and language is a very broad term. This word, language, is a very broad term. When we talk about the word language, it can mean human language, not only the human language, animal language, and some artificial languages are there in the world now, just like computer languages, etc. Right? So language is a very wide, it's a very broad term. So we are focusing here especially on the human language in this module, in the discussion of this module, right? We are not bothered about the artificial languages, right? Or languages like computer or whatever the mechanical kind of language. We are not particularly focusing our attention on the animal language as well, except for several areas, right? There are some areas in this lesson where we need to think about animal language also, right? Especially we will have to compare and contrast animal language and human language. Likewise, sorry, but basically we are thinking about the human language. Okay, so before I move into the fundamental beliefs about language, I just want to know from you, what do you mean by language? What is language? Or what kind of a thing do you mean by the word language? Right? So I need some idea from you.
Mean of communication between two
Between yes, between two people. Is that
two
so?
types of people.
A means of communication. Okay, language is a means of communication. Fine, good, right? That's the basic idea. Actually, why should we use a language? Now, I'm using a language here to tell something, and you all are using the language to listen to something as well as to understand that thing, right? So, language is basically a means of communication, right? And other than that, what else? Now, I would like to remind you the fact that now there's a problem in my laptop, right? Then and there, the mic doesn't work, but I don't know it. Of course, it doesn't indicate it. And only my students get to know that my mic doesn't work and they remind me, right? So that there are some options. So I just do something with these options and it gets okay. So if you start not hearing my voice, please tell me, right? Please tell me so that I can do something and it will be all right. Okay. Well, so I was asking about language. So can I know whether the others have any idea? Harvin and Ilma, do you have any idea about the word language? What is language if I just ask from you? Yes. I hope you all can hear me, right? Yeah. So, do you have anything else, any other idea about what is language? Because now this module is totally based on language and linguistics, mostly based on linguistics, right? But before we think about linguistics, we should know about language. And this introductory section is allocated to talk about language, to talk about almost all the surrounding information about language. But before I jump into that, initially I'm asking from you about what you know. So already I got an idea from one that language is a medium of communication. It's a means of communication. So what are the others think? What do you think about the others? Do you have the similar idea or anything different about the word language? Because language is not anything new to us, right? We are living with the language and we can't live, of course, without language. You would agree with me if I say so. So then what is this language? Yes.
The style of piece of writing or speech.
Style of
Piece
Harvin.
of writing or speech.
Okay, style of a piece of writing or a speech. What do you mean, Harvin, by style? I mean the way, maybe, right? Okay, so Ilma, do you have any idea?
It's like a mode of interaction.
A mode of interaction of
all the living beings.
Humans as well as animals. Okay, right, fine. So if there were some more students here in this meeting, so that we will have more and different ideas, right? But unfortunately, only 3 are there. So I got wide and vivid ideas from you 3. So really good. Okay, it's really good. Yeah. So whatever you said are correct actually, right? Although we say language is a medium of communication, of course, more not only that, right? Other than that, language is or can be defined in so many various ways. There are so many characteristics that we can find in a language. So we will talk about them a bit later, right? As just a start, I just want you to be alert. Just think about what language is. Right now, we will start here with the fundamental beliefs about language. Fundamental beliefs about language means what the people are normally thinking about language. Because now, in this world, definitely any human being should be using a language, right? Now, there are no people who are not using any language. At least one language is used by a person living in this world, right? So there are so many situations where a person, one human being is exposed to more than one language, talking or using 2 languages, 3 languages, and in some rare situations, maybe more than that, even 6, 7 different languages. There are people who are conversant in 6, 7 different languages also. So what do they think about language? That is what we here think about the fundamental beliefs. What they think about language, right? So one belief is this: equating language with writing. That means people think, I'm not telling you, okay? Right? People in general, that can include you as well as me or any other person, right? People in general I'm using. So the people, they think that language is writing, okay? Which means they can't separate language from a piece of writing. So what they call language is something that is written. Definitely. So in such a case, of course, what is happening? They equate language with the writing aspect only. Something written is what they call language, not anything spoken. So they find connections in between a written document and language, what they call language. So for them, language is maybe a written essay, a report, a prose, a poem, a fiction, etc., etc. Something written. So that is a belief that persists among the people in general regarding language. Okay, right. So another belief, connection between a word and the thing it names. Okay. So this is also a very strong belief. Even you have this belief, right? You and I, we all have this belief. What is this? We believe, rather than we, of course, I will use the word people, okay? Right? We don't have to personalize these things now. So I'll just use the word people. So people think that there is a connection between a word and the thing it names. There is a connection, right? So when I say, for example, you just think that a sentence like, Lizzie is beautiful, right? Lizzie is beautiful. Or I can just tell the same thing in a much more shorter way, like beautiful Lizzie. Lizzie is the name of a girl, right? Beautiful Lizzie. So what do you think? The word Lizzie is there. And when I say Lizzie is beautiful or beautiful Lizzie, what do? I try to build up a connection between the word, right, Lizzie, and the idea of being beautiful. Okay, I try to set up a connection. And as my listeners, you also get that connection in your mind when I say beautiful Lizzie, right? You just feel like there is a very strong bond between that proper noun Lizzie and this the beauty, right? The so-called feeling of beauty, being beautiful with Lizzie. So that happens. That happens. That is natural, right? Okay. And a foreign language is somehow perverse and idiotic. Another belief, the third point I'm telling. A foreign language is somehow perverse and idiotic, while our own language is natural and sensible. Okay, right. Okay, let's think about it like this. What do you think about your first language and the second language? I'll just take Sinhala, for example, right? Sinhala. So only I think Nesatma can think about it from the people who are present at the moment, right? And Favin and Ilma, hopefully your first language is Tamil, am I correct?
Yeah, ma'am.
Right, okay. You just then compare your first language with your second language, right? First language can be either Sinhala or Tamil. And what is your second language?
Sinhala.
Yeah, for Nesatma, what is your second language? I don't know whether Nesatma can hear me.
Tamil.
Yeah. Really? What is the second language in our country? What is the second language in our country? Anybody has any answer to that question? Hello?
Must be Tamil, ma'am.
Now this is the point actually, right? Second language here means I meant linguistically, right? Not legally. Legally, in legal sense, the second language is Tamil, of course. Because in our country, we have two state languages now. You all know that, right? We have two state languages. One is Sinhala, the other one is Tamil, right? So for the students who are learning, whose mother tongue is Sinhala, Tamil is their second language, okay, in schools. And for the students whose mother tongue is Tamil, Sinhala is their second language. Am I correct? I think you know better than me as being teachers of government schools.
Yes, ma'am. In all our subjects, they follow Tamil as their second language.
As their second language, yeah.
Oh, Muslim students
Huh.
follow Sinhala as their second
As
language.
their second language, right? Okay, so that is legally, that is how the positioning of these two languages have been set up, right? But linguistically, actually, I asked the question from a linguistic point of view. Linguistically, second language is the language you become master, right? After you learn your first language. So in that sense, actually, English is going to be the second language. Now, but don't here confuse or misunderstand, right? English is not the legally accepted second language in the education context. In the education field, English is just another language, right? It's a foreign language. But linguistic point of view, of course, we treat English as our second language. So how do you teach English to your students? Or how do you introduce the English language to your students? Telling about English as what? In our country, we have learners. We have people who are learning English as their second language, right? And there are courses teaching English as their second language, as the second language, like TESL. You may have heard it, right? TESL, what is TESL? Teaching English as second language. So that second language is not the second language which we talk about in the education context, in the field of education, right? So there's a little bit difference here, don't confuse. Okay, right. So if we come back to our discussion here, I was actually asking a question from you. Okay, you just compare English and your mother tongue. Oh, it doesn't matter. Even if you compare your mother tongue and the second language, right? If your mother tongue is Sinhala, you can just compare it with your second language. And if your mother tongue is Tamil, you can just compare it with your second language, which is Sinhala. It's all right. Or else you can compare your mother tongue with the English language. This is the point, which is with which you are feeling comfortable. Is it with your mother tongue or the second language?
Mother tongue.
No doubt, right? Obviously, that
Oh, we
happens.
can. Oh,
Right? Yeah. Whenever we get a chance, we use which language? Mother tongue, right? Even now also, if I write just love you, or if I am not that much particular about the medium of discussion here, definitely you would start using your mother tongue. Don't you do so? That happens because that is the much more convenient and comfortable language for us. Which means, what do you think about your other language then? Second language, maybe Tamil or Sinhala or English. You don't feel that much comfortable, right? You feel using your mother tongue, you can convey your senses. You can convey your feelings very accurately, right? Sometimes the extreme cases think that their mother tongue, mother language is very much natural and sensible, and the foreign language, not even the second language, foreign language is not that much sensible to you. It's not natural. You can't communicate from the bottom of your heart using a foreign language like what you do with your mother tongue, right? Perverse and idiotic means a kind of foolish, right? You don't feel comfortable with some foreign languages. You don't feel it like it's your own. Perverse and idiotic are extreme words, of course. But I know that people are not feeling as it is. But there may be some extreme cases who believe it like that, right? Foreign language is much more foolish than the mother language. So you can converse only with your mother tongue very naturally. And you can't communicate using a foreign language that easily. That kind of idea is there with people, right? What do you think about yourselves? Are you like that? If you just compare two languages, are yours like that? No idea. You are like that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, why not?
We can say our natural and real senses through our
With
mother tongue.
our mother tongue, yeah.
Mother tongue.
Right.
And I heard that it is better to teach our kids with their mother tongue. It will create their mind very sensible and also.
Yeah. Right. Now, teaching English to the students using mother tongue has been accepted now by an act also, right? I am talking about the school level, okay? Primary level, primary and post-primary level. So that is accepted. That is allowed. Teaching English to the students using their mother tongue, right? Even now.
Yes.
Yeah. So now here we are just trying to catch up some common beliefs about the use of language. No? So there are people for whom their mother tongue is the topmost, the best thing, right? Whereas the foreign language or foreign languages are not that much natural for them. And they are quite like they are inferior. Okay, I hope you all can understand what I am trying to tell here. There is a kind of inferior superior difference. I know we don't have that kind of extreme idea in our minds, but some have it. For them, their mother tongue is superior and other languages are inferior. That happens with some people. But as a whole, we also believe, right? So when we want to blame somebody, we feel like using our mother tongue, so we can do it very well if we use our mother tongue. Not only blaming, of course, if we want to express our true feelings in our heart, right? We feel like using our mother tongue, so that is the best means of expressing our mind out, right? So that happens. So that is one fundamental belief, uncommon belief. Foreign, rather than a foreign language, the own language, that is mother language, seems quite natural and sensible, right? That kind of idea is available among the people, right? Okay, so those are some of the fundamental ideas regarding language, but actually I'm quoting from your module here. But I don't want you all to accept these beliefs as they are, okay? Right? Although these ideas are there in the module, subject module, you can just go through them and read them and get an idea. But don't just try to imitate, of course. You don't have to be like that. That is what I am telling here. Although these fundamental beliefs are there, I am not asking you to develop these beliefs as they are. That's the point. You just be aware that people are thinking about language in these different ways. That's it. But you need to understand the real thing, right? The accurate fact, being linguistic students. That's the point. Okay, being linguistic students. All right, so let's move on to the discussion on something about the functions of language. So what are we doing with language? Actually, this discussion is related to my first question. I asked from you, what is language? Right, at the very beginning, what is language and what do you do with language and all these things? So you have answers to that question in this slide, in this section. Can you just go through them? I'll give you 1 or 2 minutes because I know that these sections are new to you. Know, you didn't have a time to go through, right? So you just take 1 or 2 minutes and don't study, okay? You just go through the lines and be familiar with these functions. Yes. So here the first one, I hope you must have rushed through these points. first idea is language gives expression to our thoughts. Right now, I hope you all would agree with this. Language gives expression to our thoughts. So, where are our thoughts then? What do you think? Where are the thoughts? We are humans, so we think a lot before we talk. Oh, there are situations where we talk without thinking also. Right. So, where are our thoughts? Yeah. The thoughts are there in our mind, right? So we get so many new thoughts over and over again. So in most of the situations, we need to express them. We need to put them out for any reason. Okay, for any reason. So this is the medium. Language is the medium. So we can express our thoughts in so many different ways, right? Some people cry, okay? Some people cry, and some people, what do they do when they feel sad? When we feel sad, we cry, no? That is the common thing. What else? What do you do when you feel sad? Do you cry or do something else? Any idea?
Be silent and blame
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. Why not? We do a lot of things, right? The very basic thing is to cry. But other than crying, there are people who are eating and eating and eating when they feel sad, right? Non-linguistic things, actions. And there are people who feel like sleeping when they feel sad. And there are people who don't feel like sleeping also, right? And they blame, as you said, right? When they feel sad, they cry, as well as they blame, do a lot of things. So for blaming, then how do you blame to somebody? I mean, you can't act it out, no? You have to use language, right? So that is regarding the sadness, but there are so many feelings and the thoughts that are coming to our mind, right? Over and over again. If you just think about happiness, there are so many ways of expressing happiness, but language gives us the primary means of expressing our feelings, be it sadness, happiness, surprise, uncertainty, etc. Whatever the thing, right? Language gives us the expression, the means of expressing our thoughts. That's the basic function of language, right? Okay. And then we have the next point. Language is used to transmit information. Transmit information. The first point is expression to our thoughts. Second point, language is used to transmit information, and that is known as communicative function. So what do you think about this function? This is a little bit different from the first function, right? Using language to express thoughts. Here, in the second point, we talk about the communicative function of language. That means we use language to transmit information. You know what transmitting is, right? Transmit means we send something from one place to another place. Sending something from one place to another place. That is what you mean by transmitting. So transmitting information means sending information from one person to another person. Actually, from speaker to listener. Transmitting information, and in return from listener to speaker. Then the roles change. So there, that is the communicative function, right? So communicative process is somewhat, I am not telling complicated, but that is the regular kind of process for a communicative function or communication process. As you know, right? You know these things. Speaker is there and the listener is there. So the speaker is sending information. Sending information means in the mind of the speaker, there are concepts, there are ideas, and the speaker encodes them, which means the speaker puts these ideas to a language, and then speaker selects a medium, the language, and the speaker selects a medium medium in the sense the oral medium or the spoken medium along with the particular language, and sends this information to the listener, right? And what does the listener do? Listener receives the message from the speaker, decodes the message, right? Decodes the message. In decoding, understands, right? Understands what the speaker says, and in return sends a message to the speaker. So this is the process of communication, right? So for this communicative function, basically what is happening? The sender is transmitting information to the listener, vice versa. Okay, this is the communicative function of language, the most important function. Now earlier you told language is a medium of communication. So communication means transmitting information from S to L and from L to S also, right? And there is another function of language, which we neglect, of course, but that plays a very big role, okay? Language is used to maintain social intercourse, right? Maintaining social intercourse. Now, you know, human beings are social beings, right? Human beings are social beings. No, that means, what do you mean by that? And human beings are living in a society, not in isolation, of course. And that is why human beings need the language, no? Because they are living in a society and they need to exchange information. That's why they use language. But this is another important function of language, maintaining social intercourse. Right, okay. Let's think about an example. So when you meet your friend, one of your friends in the morning, what do? What do? I ask from you all, I just want you to think about this. When you meet your friends in the morning.
We greet and ask ins and out.
Right. You say good morning, right? Don't you? Good morning. Or else in some extreme cases, you just say morning only, don't you? You don't know whether it's good or bad, you just say morning, right? So that's for the sake of telling it. But even then you greet your friend, right? So why is that? I'm asking, why do you say good morning or morning to your friend? Can you think of the reason?
Sometimes we say as a habit.
Uh,
And so it is a social language.
Yeah. So you just, you are worried that your friend will, you just want to please your friend, right? Okay. Okay, give me 1 minute, please. Right. Okay. So what I was, now can you see the slide? Nesatma, can you see the slide? My screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, right. So there's a message on my screen and that's why. Well, so of course, really, we greet our friends because we want to maintain the interaction with them. Don't you think so? Or do you really have a genuine necessity to wish them a good morning? Nothing like that, right? We just feel like our friends will just think something about us, think something negative about us if we do not greet them and just over the face, right? And pass by without greeting. So we are worried over these factors. That is why we greet, right? Okay, so that is maintaining the social intercourse among one another, right? Okay, and another very good example is they are talking about the weather, right? Okay, I'll give you one common situation. I don't know whether you people have experiences, but you may have seen, right? So you just think about the situation where the two families are meeting, especially when they are met by a matchmaker, right? Okay, a match, you know who matchmaker is? Nesatma, you know, hopefully, right? Favin and Ilma, any idea of what I am telling? Matchmaker? Hello, are you listening?
I have heard before this, but at once I couldn't get the meaning.
Matchmaker, that is Magul Kapua.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So I think Favin and Ilma, they also have some idea about what I'm telling, right? So now usually what's happening, now, although you may not have any experience, of course, you know about these things in the society, you know, and the matchmaker's business, you know, right? He is getting acquainted with one family to another family, right? He is meeting two families, no, where the bride and groom are, right? So when these two families, now, you know, these two families are not known to each other very much, no, right? Because they are make friends, they are made friends by the matchmaker, no? So for the first time then, the groom's family goes to the bride's family, right? Bride's home. Okay. So at the very first time when they meet, what do you think they are talking? Can you guess? What do you think? If I just tell it in Sinhala, මේ දවස්වල මෙහාට වහිනවද? අපිට නම් හරියට වහිනවා. මෙහෙට පායනවද? පෑවිල සැරයි වගේ නේද? I don't know whether Favin and Ilma are catching what I'm telling, right? What is the point? What is the point?
I remember the Naribana drama, madam.
Okay. There's a scene there also anyway. That is the reality. That's the thing. Yeah. So because they don't know each other, no? Like these two families do not know very much about themselves. So where can they start a discussion? From weather, right? Because wherever you go, you have definitely something to talk about weather, no? Right? Whether it's raining now or whether it's sunny these days, or in this area it's really cool, or whatever is, we have something to talk about weather wherever we are in the world, right? Not only in this country. So talking about weather is a kind of maintaining social intercourse. Don't you think so? It happens, especially it happens between unknown people. I know definitely when you meet your friend, you never talk about the weather. If it is a horrible weather, unless it's a horrible weather, of course, you will never talk about what is going on in the weather these days in your hometown, never. But when you meet a unknown person, right? And when you have to talk with that person as a starting point to your discussion, you may talk about the weather. So that is maintaining social intercourse. So these greetings and weather matters, these are some examples, right? And that is called fatigue function of language. Fatigue function of language, right? Okay. And there is another function. Language provides the raw material for works of literature, right? So you know about literature. Literature means the creative writing, okay? And creative writing can be produced in so many different ways, right? In the form of fiction, like short stories, novels, in the form of poems, verses, sonnets, write free verses, etc. So creative writing can be produced in different ways, so many different ways. So how can we produce creative writing, or how can we simply write a poem or a story, a short story or a novel using language? Language is the raw material for works of literature, right? So that is the other important function of language here. So you can see there are so many, 4 important functions you can see in this slide. And also we have some other functions that are equally important, right? These functions are also equally important. You just go through them. I will read for you. Also, language is used to get others to do things. Get others to do things. Like I can use, for example, I can use language, right? To get you to do something. What? Something like what? I ask a question from you, right? I ask a question and I expect an answer. So you have to give the answer. So how can I get you to answer something? By using language. You can understand this with the commands, right? Imperatives. Now you know about English grammar. In English grammar, we have a particular sentence type called imperatives. Imperatives. So what is happening in imperatives? Imperatives are commands or orders or requests. So, for example, like go away. Go away is an imperative sentence. That's a command. So when I say so, my listener should work accordingly, right? So I'm getting another person to do something by issuing a command. So that is one function in language. That is an example only here, right? Okay. And also, we can use language to express emotions or feelings, to make promises, to ask questions, to bring about states of affairs, even etc. Right? So we use language to express our emotions, feelings. I think here we are overlapping with the first point, very first point in the previous slide, right? Expressing emotions or feelings, and we use language to make promises. Of course, without using a language, we can't make a promise now, right? And also to ask questions. What do you think about this subject, right? Are you feeling sleepy? Are you feeling bored? That kind of questions. Do you know the answer to this question like that? Okay. And to bring about states of affairs, to talk about any kind of connections, the nature of the affairs, in the sense the relationships or the connections in between two things or two people, right? We can use language to talk about these things. All right. And what do you think about the third point here? Talk to oneself, right? So have you seen people who are talking to themselves? Okay, I'll ask this question from you. Are you talking to yourselves? Are you? No issue, you can talk genuinely and honestly.
Yeah, at times we talk to ourselves.
Really? How do you talk to yourself? Are you talking in mind, or are you talking loudly?
In mind.
In mind, of course, in mind we are talking always, right? I'm asking about loud talking. Loudly? Are you in the habit of talking to yourself? No or yes?
Yes, some interjection.
Interjections. Okay, right. If
Yes,
there's
or
nobody around you to listen to you, of course, you would be talking to yourself when you are using interjections, right? Yeah, like aha, oh, ouch, alas, that kind of things. Nesatma, that is what you meant, I think, right? Yeah. So other than that, although we don't feel like doing it, because the other thing, people might think that we are mad. But there are There are people who talk to themselves, right, at certain situations. So for that also they use language.
Sometimes without voice in mind, we appreciate that, appreciate us, and sometimes we blame
Us
ourselves
also.
in mind.
In mind, yeah. Yeah, Nisatma, the thing is, in mind, of course, we are constantly talking, right? Don't you think so? In mind, we are constantly talking. But physically, of course, loudly, also there are situations where people are talking to themselves. That happens, right? Under particular conditions, of course. I'm not telling that this is normal and everybody should do this. No, it's not like that. But it happens in certain situations. And a person doesn't have to be a mad person to talk to himself, right? So inside, if we get back to our point here, it happens. And when it happens, we use language to talk to ourselves, right? Language is the medium. Okay, and there's another function of language. Probably this term is new to you, I hope. Meta language, right? That is the term. And the idea is this: we use language to talk about language itself, right? We use language to talk about language itself. Now, what am I doing? Now, you all are listening to me, right? What am I doing at the moment? Can you tell me? What am I talking about? Yes. So that is called meta language. I'm talking about the nature of language at the moment, now, right? And later on, we will be talking about the grammar of language. That means if I just, for example, think that I'm telling you about the nouns of the English language. There are proper nouns, there are collective nouns, abstract nouns, and these are the differences between abstract and concrete nouns, and these are the examples of proper nouns. Likewise, if I am talking about nouns, of course, what do? I use language to talk about language, because nouns are a part of language. Okay, verbs are a part of language. So that whole incident is called meta language, using language to talk about language itself, right? So that is another important function. So you need to be familiar with these words, these terms, meta language. And whenever you see this word, when you are reading, when you are doing your further readings, it will be helpful for you if you have some idea about this, right? Okay, so these are the different functions of language. So you just simply, you have to understand language is not only a medium of communication. Communication means it can happen in so many different ways, communicating ideas. But also, right, communication means communicative function. The second point here, just transmitting information. You are sending some information to your listener. That is the communicative function. And in return, your listener will tell something to you. Yeah, that happens. But other than that, as a human being, we use language for so many different functions, like simply expressing what is there in our mind, and just to maintain the social interactions and the intercourse with the other people, and as the basis, as a raw material for creative writing. Okay, and also as social beings, whenever we want to deal with the other human beings, like when we want to get them do something, when we want to express our emotions and to make promises with them and to ask certain things from them, right? And also as human beings, we use language to talk to ourselves and to talk about language itself, right? Okay, these are different functions of language. And if you will get a chance to talk about language in your assessments, right, in your the papers, maybe assignments or in papers, you need to talk about this aspect of language if you are writing anything about language. Okay, so it's very important and very basic. And again, I'm inviting you all to go through, read the module, please, once you get it tomorrow. Okay, so that you will get a very clear idea regarding what we discussed today. Right, then we have the next topic, linguistic science. Okay, this is another area in language. We are talking about, of course, if I go back, this is where we are talking about the nature of human language, right? So far, we were talking about the fundamental beliefs. With that, under the fundamental beliefs, we were talking about the functions of language as well. And next, we are moving on to the linguistic science, right? Linguistic science. So I'll just start this topic as the time is not enough. I will just give a very brief introduction to this topic only. And in our next session, we'll continue our lesson with the linguistic science, right? Okay. So science. Here we are talking about linguistic science. In Sinhala, of course, science means sanya. But I'm really sorry, in Tamil, I don't know the word. Okay. But you understand the meaning of the word science here. But in this lesson, we are talking about the linguistic science, not any other science. The signs are everywhere. Wherever we go, there are signs. We use signs. But in language, also we find different types of signs, right? Human language consists of signs. And what kind of a thing do you mean by signs here? I have given the idea. Things that stand for or represent something else. That is what you mean by a sign. Sign is something that stands for or represent something else. So sign can be just something like this, for example. But behind this, you have another meaning. Another meaning, right? What you see superficially from this sign is not what is meant by that sign. That's what you mean by representing something. The sign is something like that. So in human language, we have so many such kind of signs. Okay? And linguistic signs are sequences of sounds which represent concrete objects and events as well as abstractions. So when we talk about this represented meaning of the signs, this represented meaning can be concrete objects or events, or they can be abstractions. Now, you know, the word abstraction is something which is not concrete. It can be an idea, or abstraction can refer to an idea or to a concept, right? But on the other hand, concrete objects and events can also be represented by a sign. Like, for example, table, chair, the tree, or even washroom. And events like sports meet, a party, etc. All these things can be represented by some signs. And abstractions can be a kind of concepts like death, birth, nature. You don't have any concrete objects now to indicate death. It's an abstraction, abstract idea. So the point is, in language, in human language, there are signs to represent both concrete objects and events and also abstract ideas. Okay. So signs are used very extensively in any language, not only in the English language, in any language. And you can find 3 types of signs here: iconic signs, indexical signs, and symbolic signs, which I will be discussing in the next session, the next day, right? Okay, so by the time we meet for the next session, you have your module. Please go through it, read at least up to the point which we have discussed today, and a little bit more than that, so that during the next lecture, you would have an idea of what we are going to discuss. Okay, right. Okay, now it's time to wind up our discussion. But before we wind up, just can I have some idea regarding the time? Now, is the 6:30 okay for you all? Will 6:30 be all right? To start,
Okay.
right. Okay, but I have a small problem now. The big problem, power cut is there anyway. We can't stop that now. But throughout February, okay, starting from this week, from tomorrow, of course, until the end of February, we have the exams in SLQF. So then and there, I get the exam duty. So if I get a lecture scheduled on a day where I have the exam duty, I will not be able to start by 6:30, right? Because I need to travel from the institute. So therefore, starting at 6:30 will not be that much convenient. In such a case, we will start at 7, right? Is that all right? If we happen to start at 7 during February, January and February, will that be okay?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Well, so I'll try my level best to have lectures on days where I do not have the exam duty. We'll see, yeah? Right, I can't promise, but 6:30 would be the permanent time. If I have to do the lecture on a duty day, only I will shift to 7. Anyhow, I will inform it to the office and you will get to know. Right, so meanwhile, I will send Nisatma, I'll send you the link to the Google Classroom. Let me please have some time to do that. And once I send you the link, Nisatma, please share it among the members of your group, right? And you all have to join the Google Classroom. It will be easy for us to continue our works. All right, then. So I expect during the next lecture, all the students will join, right? Okay, then. So we'll meet in the next day and see you. Bye. Good night, all of you.
Thank you, madam. Okay, see you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, ma'am.